Okay, we're going to look at some more quadratic equations. These ones are completely different to what we've looked at before, but it involves a skill we've looked at before called a difference of two squares. Okay, so let's just get straight into it with an example 1. Okay, x squared minus 9. Alright, now we would call that a difference of two squares because if I said it was the difference between 9 and 5, the answer to that is 4. And that's because a difference means you subtract. Now this is a difference of two squares because there's a difference, and there's a square, and there's a square. Now what do I mean by that? Well, if you think about your square numbers, so I'm going to list here the first 10 square numbers. Remember, if you square a number, what you do when you're multiplying it by itself. Okay, so 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16, 5 squared is 25, 6 squared is 36, 7 squared is 49, 8 squared is 64, 9 squared is 81, and 10 squared is 100. Okay, so for a difference two squares, so obviously the third square number is 9, alright? Now what about x squared? Well, x squared is a squared letter. Alright, so that's definitely a difference of two squares. So what do you do with these questions? You get a bracket with a plus and a bracket with a minus. The square root of x squared is x, you put that in there. Square root of 9 is, well, it's 3, because remember the square root of something is the number you multiply it together to get that number. So the square root of 16, for example, is 4, because 4 times 4 is 16. Square root of 25 is 5, because 5 times 5 is 25. Okay, so I've got x plus 3 bracket x minus 3 equals 0. X plus 3 equals 0, or x minus 3 equals 0. Which means x equals minus 3, or x equals 3. Okay, so let's just summarise what you do. So if you've got a difference of two squares, you get a bracket with a plus, and you get a bracket with a minus. You then take the square root of x squared, gives you x, and the square root of 9 gives you 3. And then you take it from there. Let's try example 2. Okay, example 2, let's say we've got x squared minus 36 equals 0. Okay, so bracket with a plus, bracket with a minus. The square root of x squared is x, the square root of 36 is 6. So now I've got x plus 6 equals 0, or x minus, let's take that out of brackets, x plus 6 equals 0, or x minus 6 equals 0. Bring them over, change your sign, x equals minus 6, or x equals 6. Let's try example 3. Example 3, a squared minus 4 equals 0. Okay, so bracket with a plus, bracket with a minus. The square root of a squared is a, the square root of 4 is 2. Okay, let's take it on from there. A plus 2 equals 0, or a minus 2 equals 0. Bring that over, change its sign. A equals minus 2, or a equals 2. Example 4. Okay, next one, t squared minus 100 equals 0. Okay, bracket with a plus, bracket with a minus. The square root of t squared is t. The square root of 100 is 10. T plus 10 equals 0, or t minus 10 is equal to 0. Okay, so that's t equals minus 10, or t is equal to 10. Okay, let's try another. P squared minus 1 equals 0. Okay, so that's p plus 1, bracket p minus 1 equals 0. So bracket with a plus, bracket with a minus. Square root of p squared is p, square root of 1 is 1. P plus 1 equals 0, or p minus 1 equals 0. P equals minus 1, or p is equal to 1. Example 6. Okay, example 6. Right, this is where it's going to get a wee bit trickier. So let's have a look at this one. 3x squared minus 27 is equal to 0. Just very slightly trickier, but we'll definitely get it with a bit of practice. Okay, now, Your first move here is, can you take out a highest common factor? Now from 3 and 27, if you think about your factors are 3, that's 1 and 3. If you think about your factors are 27, 1, 3, 9 and 27, the highest common factor is 3. So you take that out to get going, so that's your first move. Alright, your first move is to take out the common factor 3. Then it's 3 times what gives you 3x squared. Well, that's x squared. 3 times what gives you 27, well, that's 9. And there's a minus in the middle. Okay, so this is a two-step question. That's your first step. First step is to take out the highest common factor, which is 3. Okay, your next move is to do a difference of 2 squares in here. Okay, so bracket with a plus, bracket with a minus. The square root of x squared is x, and the square root of 9 is 3. But you can't forget that there was a 3 at the start. You need to include that as well. Okay. So what we've got now is 3 bracket x plus 3 bracket x minus 3 is equal to 0. Now what we can do next is divide both sides of the equation by 3. Now, 3 divided by 3 just gives you 1. Okay, so that'll end up with 1 bracket x plus 3 bracket x minus 3 is equal to 0 divided by 3, that's 0. Now the next thing is, if that number there is 1, which it is, well, I don't even need to bother showing it. So what I'm going to do is just rub that out altogether. We don't even need to show it, it's because it's definitely there. So now we're just left with x plus 3 equals 0, or x minus 3 equals 0. Bring that over, change its sign, x equals minus 3, or x is equal to 3. Okay, example 4. 5p squared minus 20 equals 0. Okay, first move, take out a common factor. From 5 and 20, I can take out 5. So how's that? Well, 5 is 1 and 5. 20, 1, 2, 4, 5, 10 and 20. Highest common factor is 5. 5 times what gives you 5p squared? That's p squared. There's a minus in the middle. 5 times what gives you 20? That's 4. Okay, so then what you do is a difference of 2 squares here. So, bracket with a plus, bracket with a minus. The square root of p squared is p. The square root of 4 is 2. There's a 5 on the front. Okay. Next move, divide both sides by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. So it's 1 bracket p plus 2 bracket p minus 2 is equal to 0 divided by 5 is 0. Now for the last time, I'm not going to do it the next time, so I don't need that 1 there, because 5 divided by 5 is 1. Well, if there's no number there, we know the number is 1 anyway. Take it there, p plus 2 equals 0, or p minus 2 equals 0. Bring them over, change your sign, p equals minus 2, or p is equal to 2. Let's try an example 5. Okay, example 5, let's go for 3q squared minus 3 equals 0. First move, take out the common factor, that's 3. 3 times what gives you 3q squared? Q squared. 3 times what gives you 3? That's 1. Okay, next move, difference 2 squares, bracket with a plus, bracket with a minus. Square root of q squared is q, square root of 1 is 1, but remember there's that 3 at the front, so you need to include that as well. Next move, divide both sides by 3, that gets rid of that, leaves you with q plus 1 bracket q minus 1 is equal to, what's 0 divided by 3, that's easy, that's 0. So I've got q plus 1 equals 0, or q minus 1 equals 0, q is equal to minus 1, or q is equal to 1. Okay, I said example 5 last time, but it was example 8, so this is example 9. Okay, example 9. 2g squared minus 8 equals 0. Common factor of 2, take it out. 2 times what gives you 2g squared? G squared. There's a minus in the middle. 2 times what gives you 8? 4. Okay, then it's a difference of 2 squares. So bracket with a plus, bracket with a minus. Square root of g squared is g. square root of 4 is 2. But there's a 2 at the front, and I can't forget it. Okay, divide both sides by 2, gets rid of that. G plus 2 bracket G minus 2 is equal to 0, divide by 2, which is 0. G plus 2 equals 0, or G minus 2 is equal to 0. So that's G equals minus 2, or G equals 2. Okay, last one. Right, so let's go 5t squared minus 45 is equal to 0. Okay, take out the common factor of 5, 5 bracket t squared. 5 times what gives you 5t squared, t squared. 5 times what gives you 45, 9. That's then a difference of 2 squares. So bracket with a plus, bracket with a minus. Square root of t squared is t. Square root of 9 is 3, but there's a 5 at the front. Divide both sides by 5, gets rid of that. T plus 3 bracket t minus 3 is equal to 0. T plus 3 equals 0, or t minus 3 equals 0. Bring them over, change your sign. T equals minus 3, or t is equal to 3. Okay, so you're going to try these ones. So the first 5 are the easier ones. You don't need to find the highest common factor first. It's straight take difference 2 squares and then solve it. The next 5 are the ones that are going to have 2 steps. You'll need to get the common factor first, and then you'll do the difference 2 squares. We'll have a go at those, and we'll pick them up tomorrow.